You're starving. Not the kind of hunger you fix with a snack. The kind that makes your hands shake and your thoughts slow down. 2 days without real food, and now, finally, you see it. A tavern. Warm light spills through the cracks in the wood. Voices inside. The promise of relief. You step in, hoping this is where things get better. But within seconds, something feels wrong. The smell hits first. Thick, sour, heavy. Then you see the floor. Bones. Spilled ale. Something moving in the shadows that shouldn't be moving at all. And right in front of you, a man named Thomas Reed tears into a piece of meat like it's the best thing he's ever tasted. He chews once, then stops. His face changes. Slowly, quietly, like he realizes it too late. In 1340, a single meal like this didn't just test your stomach. It tested whether you lived through the night. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why people walked into places like this hungry, and sometimes never walked out the same. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. You move further inside, and the door closes behind you with a dull thud that feels heavier than it should. The room is crowded, but no one looks surprised to see you. Travelers come and go here all the time. What surprises you is how close everything feels. The benches are packed, shoulders pressed together, strangers sharing space like it's normal. A woman squeezes past you carrying a bowl that sloshes over the edge, spilling onto the floor without a second glance. No one rushes to clean it. No one reacts at all. This is just how things are. You find a seat near Thomas Reed, close enough to see the tension still lingering in his face. He hasn't pushed the plate away. He just sits there, staring at it, like he's deciding whether hunger matters more than whatever he just tasted. The air is thick with smoke from the fire burning in the center of the room. It drifts upward but never fully escapes, clinging to your clothes, your hair, your throat. You can taste it before you even take a bite of anything. Around you, people eat with their hands, reaching across the table, tearing pieces from shared dishes. There are no separate plates, no clear boundaries. What's in front of you is what's available, and what's available is never guaranteed to be safe. A man across the table coughs into his sleeve and then reaches back into the bowl. No one pulls away. No one hesitates. Hunger has already made the decision for everyone here. A pitcher lands on the table with a heavy thud. The ale inside is cloudy, faintly sour, and warmer than you expect. It's passed from hand to hand, one cup shared between people who have never met. When it reaches you, you pause for just a second. The rim is worn, damp, carrying traces of everyone who drank before you. Then you drink anyway. Because in this moment, refusing isn't really an option. Water isn't something you trust here. And this, as questionable as it seems, is considered the safer choice. Thomas finally takes another bite. You watch him closely this time. He forces it down, slower now, like he's trying to convince himself it's fine. And that's when you notice something else. The stew in his bowl isn't consistent. Some pieces are soft, others tougher, some darker than the rest. This isn't a single meal prepared fresh. It's something that's been building over time. A pot that never fully empties, only refills. Ingredients added day after day, blending into something no one can fully identify anymore. What you're looking at isn't just tonight's dinner. It's yesterday's, and the day before that, and maybe longer. You're handed a bowl of your own. The smell rises quickly, rich but slightly off, like something trying too hard to cover itself. You hesitate, just for a moment, but your stomach tightens, reminding you why you came here in the first place. You take a bite. At first, it's not as bad as you expected. The spices are strong, almost overwhelming, masking whatever might be underneath. But then there's an aftertaste. Faint, lingering, something you can't quite place, but you know it shouldn't be there. Around you, no one reacts. They keep eating, keep drinking, keep talking. Either they don't notice, or they've learned not to. This is where the reality of 1340 begins to settle in. Food isn't about enjoyment. It's about getting through the day. Preservation is limited. Meat doesn't stay fresh for long, especially without any reliable way to keep it cold. By the time it reaches a place like this, it's already at risk of turning. Spices aren't used to enhance flavor. They're used to hide it. To make something questionable just acceptable enough to eat. And for most people here, that's enough. At the far end of the room, a man suddenly stands up too fast, knocking his bench backward. He clutches his stomach, his face pale, and stumbles toward the door. No one stops him. No one asks if he's all right. They've seen this before. It happens often enough that it doesn't interrupt the rhythm of the room. Thomas watches him go, then looks back at his bowl. For a moment, you think he might finally push it away. Instead, he keeps eating. You start to notice more details the longer you sit there. The way the bread feels in your hand, dense and rough, more like something built to last than something meant to be enjoyed. It doubles as your plate, soaking up the stew, holding everything together. When you're done, you're expected to eat it too. Nothing is wasted here, not when food is this uncertain. And yet, even with that caution, the risks are everywhere. The kitchen, if you can call it that, is just an extension of this room. The same surfaces used for raw meat are used for cooked food. The same hands move between everything without pause. Thomas slows down halfway through his meal. Not because he's full, but because his body is starting to resist. You can see it in the way he shifts in his seat, the way his hand presses lightly against his stomach. He's trying to ignore it, trying to push through, because stopping doesn't solve the problem. It just means he stays hungry. And hunger, in this world, is something people fear more than discomfort, more than sickness, sometimes even more than death. Hours pass, though it's hard to tell exactly how long. The fire burns lower, the room grows louder, then quieter again as people drift in and out. Some leave on steady feet, others don't. One man is helped out by two companions, his weight sagging between them. Another lies with his head down on the table, unmoving, though no one checks on him. The line between rest and something worse isn't always clear here. Thomas finally stands, unsteady but determined. He leaves coins on the table, more than he probably should, but there's no time to argue. He makes his way toward the door, one hand trailing along the wall for balance. You follow a few steps behind, the fresh air outside hitting harder than expected. It should feel like relief. Instead, it just feels different. Cleaner, maybe, but still carrying the weight of everything you just experienced.
What happened?
He doesn't go
Let me
far.
help.
Just a few steps from the entrance.
We must
He
go.
stops,
Can you
bends
walk?
forward,
I
and
must.
braces himself. His body is rejecting something, trying to force it out, to correct a mistake it never agreed to in the first place. This is the part no one talks about when they think of medieval life. Not the battles, not the kings, but the quiet moments like this. The cost of something as simple as a meal. And here's the part that changes how you see everything. Thomas knew the risks. Maybe not in the way we understand them today, but he knew enough. He knew food could make him sick. He knew places like this weren't clean, weren't safe. And he came anyway, because the alternative was worse. Because in 1340, survival wasn't about making perfect choices. It was about making the only choices available. What you experienced tonight wasn't unusual. It was routine. Taverns like this existed across England, across Europe, serving people who had nowhere else to go. They were centers of life, not because they were good, but because they were necessary. They offered warmth, food, connection. And in a world where everything else was uncertain, that was enough. But there's something else none of them know. Something just beyond the edge of their understanding, already moving closer. Within a few years, a disease will arrive that changes everything. It will move through towns like this, through rooms like the one you just left, with a speed no one can stop. It will take people like Thomas Reed, people who survived hunger, hardship, and nights like this, and it will end their stories without warning. They don't see it coming. They can't prepare for it. All they can do is live the way they always have, one day at a time, one meal at a time. You stand there for a moment longer, looking back at the tavern door. Inside, life continues. Laughter, arguments, the clatter of cups. It all sounds the same as before, but now you understand what it costs. And maybe that's the part that stays with you. Not just how difficult it was, but how normal it felt to the people living it. Because when you return to your world, to clean kitchens and fresh food and water you don't question, it's easy to forget how fragile those things once were. Easy to assume they've always been there. But they haven't. They were built slowly, over time, shaped by experiences like this, by people who endured what they had to because they had no other choice. So the next time you sit down to eat, think about Thomas Reed. Think about that moment when he paused, realizing something wasn't right, and kept going anyway. And ask yourself, honestly, if you had been there, hungry, tired, with nothing else in front of you, would you have done anything differently?